I'm Dr. Richard Maddow, co-founder of the Maddow Center for Dental Practice Success, and welcome to a very special edition, what I hope will at least be a very special edition slash episode of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. We took a few weeks off for late summer, approaching Labor Day, and now we're back. And something really odd happened to me over the last couple of weeks. I was asked several times by several people in different situations what my path was like to becoming a dental speaker, podcaster, writer, blogger, coach, consultant, influencer, KOL, whatever you want to call what I do and many other people in dentistry do as well. Um, in the field of helping other dentists and team members improve their practices, improve their lives in so many different ways. And I think the question was brought about because my book just came out, Creating Your Ideal Dental Practice, which soft plug, insert soft plug, you can get at maddow.com/book, madow.com/book. That will take you right to the Amazon site. Or if you want to get a signed copy from me, just go to matto.com/signed. But anyway, I think as many people were purchasing the book, they were asking about kind of my story. And I think some people were just curious. Others possibly were thinking of maybe doing the same thing in the dental profession. And I always thought it was odd how there are so many people out there helping dentists, and many of them are great. Some of them maybe not so great, and a few of them are just absolute scam artists or gone-offs. But fortunately, that's in the small minority. But very few people doing this are actual dentists. So, as I always say, I would take advice from anybody that has a good track record, anybody who has a good track record. I take advice from the guy who owns the pizza shop near my dental practice, all the way up to the most successful dentist I know. But there's something about being a dentist or a dental team member. We're in there, we're in the trenches. We know what it's like to be kicked by a patient, to be puked on, to be bitten, to have someone say no to a treatment recommendation, to fight with an insurance company, to try to schedule someone who's impossible. We know all these things. And people who aren't in dentistry just don't know this. So I think that was a huge advantage in my path, or as everybody seems to be calling it these days, my journey. In my journey, everybody's on a journey. I don't know if they're where they're going, or if they're just listening to Journey and they're singing "Don't Stop Believing" all day long. Everyone seems to be on some kind of journey. I'm not sure I'm in that category, but I certainly have had a crazy road to becoming somebody who is helping out other dentists and dental team members, and it's been a blast. So, on this special episode of the Dental Practice Fixers, I'll give you a very abbreviated version of my path to this. And if you want to listen, great. I think you'll find it interesting and amusing. And if you're thinking of doing something similar yourself, well, it's always great to hear what others have done, others have put up with, so to speak. So, anyway, before I get going on that, I just want to remind you that our podcast couldn't be where it is without help from so many friends. And one of them is Stacks, my favorite credit card processing platform. We've been using Stacks at the Maddow Center for, geez, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years now. We've saved tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars because they do not charge that nasty percentage every time someone gets out their credit card, just a low, flat monthly fee. You can go to maddow.com/save to learn more. madow.com/SAVE. And as so many dental practices these days seem to be, if you're interested in a surcharging option where you charge the patient a very small, minute, tiny fee to use a credit card, and you get to keep the entire fee for yourself, you can learn more about that by going to maddow.com/cardx, madow.com/cardx. Okay, a question I frequently get, and it's because I'm one of three brothers who are dentists. We're all dentists. It's nuts. And everybody says, was your father a dentist? Was your mother a dentist? And the answer to that is no. Well, what's with three brothers being three dentists? I'm the youngest of three. Sometimes I'm not really sure why I became a dentist. One possible reason is that when I was in high school and told my mom I wanted to move to LA and become a rock star, she and my dad kind of sat me down and said, Rich, that's great, and we wish you the best of luck. but we're not going to pay for any kind of college afterwards if you do that. But if you go to college now and try to become a rock star once you get your degree, we'll help you out with your college education financially. So I went to University of Maryland, incredibly fun 4 years, went to University of Maryland Dental School and became a dentist. Um, I actually, after graduating dental school in 1984, I did an incredible general practice residency at Mount Sinai Medical Center, Miami Beach, Florida. But back to the parental question for a second. No, neither parent was a dentist. Two older brothers are, which was certainly extremely influential on me. But also, my grandfather, we called him Papa Paul. My mother's father was a general surgeon. And he lived until the age of 106. He had an amazing life. He was practicing medicine when he was a very old man, not doing surgery anymore, but doing history and physical checkups, whatever you want to call it, for the Veterans Administration up through his 90s. So Papa Paul was great, kind of the family patriarch. We all idolized him, and he loved being a physician and a surgeon. But from time to time, he would complain that he was on call so frequently. He and my grandma, my Nan Marion, would be ready to go to the opera, and Nan Marion had her white opera gloves on because that's what people did in those days. And he'd get a call at the last second, opera canceled. But he kind of envied the lifestyle of one of his best friends, Dr. Izzy, who was a dentist who loved his career and had a much better lifestyle when it came to emergencies, taking call, spending time with the family, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe in a subtle way or even subconscious way, Papa Paul was an influence on all three Matter brothers to become dentists. Okay, 1985. I finished my incredible general practice residency in Miami Beach, Florida. Six residents, five stayed in Miami Beach. One sucker moves back to their hometown. That's me. I moved back to Baltimore, Maryland. I love Baltimore. I still do. Wanted to live in Baltimore, raise a family there, all those great things. So I moved back to Baltimore and began looking for an associateship. Well, my first associateship was with a distant relative. Um, I'm not going to give his name. We'll just call him Uncle Sil, for lack of a better term. Distant relative gave me a job. I was very thankful, but also the guy was just so frugal, so cheap. I remember, like, on my first day there, he told me the only way to make money in dentistry was to count your cotton rolls, which I didn't believe him. Not the lifestyle I wanted, to be that cheap that I was counting cotton rolls. But man, was this guy cheap. On my second or third day there, I was about to do a surgical extraction. I asked my assistant for the sterile sutures. She didn't know where they were. So I asked Dr. Still, and he said, well, I'll give you some sterile sutures for now, but since you're the associate, they're way too expensive. I want you to get a spool of black thread and put it in the sterilizer, and that's going to be your sterile sutures. I swear this actually happened. Unbelievable. I had a treatment room where nothing functioned well. The high-speed handpiece was spewing out water like a garden hose, and he wouldn't get it fixed. It was just a mess. But I kind of stuck it out until one day on a busy Saturday, I went in, and this was such an exciting day. I had a patient who I saw as a new patient, who I examined and treatment planned and did all these great things. They were coming in for 2 crowns. I was psyched out of my mind. I arrived at the office totally stoked, heavily caffeinated. I went to look at my schedule, and the patient wasn't on my schedule. I said, Dr. Sill, why is this patient on your schedule and not mine? And he just looked at me and said, Rick, my practice, my schedule. And I'm not proud of this, but I just walked out, kind of threw my gloved hands in the air and left. That is not what I was looking for, right? So fortunately, I found another associateship pretty quickly in a blue collar area of Baltimore. It was a great practice, super busy, bread and butter. I liked the people there. The staff was amazing. And I learned so much. Obviously, we did a lot of pain control, extractions, dentures, but we also had some higher end treatment. We had an in-house lab. It was great, incredible experience. Until one day I got into a little debate with the practice owner about how I thought things could be changed for the better. And that turned into a little bit of an argument. It turned into a shouting match. And then we just kind of left it like that. Now, this was the kind of practice where, again, since it was in a blue collar area, lots of emergencies, lots of pain control. The first person in usually encountered a line of three, four, five patients in pain or bleeding or whatever, lined up by the door, waiting to get in. It was kind of crazy. So, the next day, I was first man up. Maybe like in if I worked at a convenience store, they called me the opener for that day, right? So I go in, three, four, five patients lined up, go to put my key in the lock and it doesn't turn. And I remembered on my first day, one of the assistants says, Rich, I just want to warn you, Dr. Lenny keeps a locksmith on retainer. I didn't know if she was making like an ortho joke. I just kind of filed it away. It didn't mean much to me, but it turned out the guy was too much of a wuss to fire me. So he changed the locks in the middle of the night. And I just thought, oh, I'm so sorry. I think the lock's jammed. Let me go see if I can get this straightened out. And I just drove away. Went to a McDonald's, ordered an egg McMuffin, and tears were pouring in the egg McMuffin. I didn't know what to do with my life. Two associateships, two failed associateships. So these days, gas was cheap. I had plenty of time on my hands. I had this little project driving around different areas of Baltimore, different suburbs, trying to just meet dentists, network. I would just knock on doors, say, "Hey, my name's Rich Maddow. I'm a new dentist. I did a great residency. If you're looking for an associate or know anybody who is, or a practice for sale, whatever, let me know." I met a lot of cool dentists that way. I don't think we called it networking in those days, but that's what I was doing. It was 1986. And a lot of times the dentist wouldn't come to the door or they'd be nasty to me. And I kind of learned after a while that the dentists who were friendly and welcoming also seemed to be the happiest and the most successful. And the dentists who were like little snivelly territorial dentists who, oh, I work just what we need, another dentist in this area. They really were the ones who weren't doing all that well. So many lessons learned. One day I'm driving around in a suburb of Baltimore, an area I didn't really know that well. And I went up to a practice as I always did to introduce myself to the owner. And there was a little paper sign on the door and it said dental practice for sale. Now they were actually seeing patients. And there's a sign on the door that said dental practice for sale. Like, what the heck is going on here? I looked in the window. There's a receptionist at the front desk. I kid you not, the office was open for business. She was up at the front desk smoking a cigarette. I mean, this was some crazy office, but I figured, what the heck? I went in, I met the dentist. He was a good guy, but had no idea how to run a practice. I bought the practice for a song. I inherited his debt. So I actually was in the hole on day one, not just the purchase price, but the practice itself was in debt. But learned a lot of tips and tricks and built it up to a really, really super successful practice. Along the same time, my oldest brother Dave, he's 4 years older than I am. He also had a practice. He was in a partnership. His practice was growing. He was learning a lot of things along the way. We were both building these great practices. We lived two houses away from each other. I know, very weird. Most nights we get together after the kids were in bed. I had very young kids at the time. We get together after the kids were in bed and had what guess was like an early version of a mastermind session. We didn't call it that at the time, but we get together and compare notes, what worked well, what didn't work well. Remember, this is the mid 80s, kind of the end of the drill, fill, and bill era. And one thing that really frustrated us was we would treat patients, send them the bill, and they wouldn't pay. So together, we created, invented, whatever you want to call it, a collection form to send to patients who weren't paying. It was called the 207 Statement of Delinquency Form. It was completely legal, but it looked very official and even a little threatening. And it was on that two-part paper where you type or write on the first copy and it bleeds through to the yellow copy underneath. So our strategy was you take the yellow copy, put it in a window envelope, you mail it to the patient who owes money. It looks very official. Because it's the yellow copy, they could tell that there's a copy somewhere else. Where was the other copy? They didn't know. It was unbelievable. It was like the day after these things got sent out. People would run into the office apologizing, cash or credit card in hand. We started calling it the magic form. It was pretty incredible. And then we said to some of our dental friends at our study club, hey, want to try our magic form? It works amazingly well. So they tried them, worked well for them. Very cool. That summer, we were at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, classic mid-Atlantic beach resort. You've probably heard of it no matter where you are in the country. We're at Rehoboth Beach, Delaware with our families. Dave and I go up to get some sunscreen for the kids. And what can I say? There's a little beer garden, and we got a little distracted, and we're sitting there chatting. I said, these collection forms that we designed, maybe we could start a little business selling these things. And we laid out a business plan on a napkin, went home, rented a PO box and a voicemail, an answering machine in those days, learned as much as we could about selling things through the mail. It's called the direct mail business. Put up a very small amount of money, each of us, and started selling these collection forms through the mail to a list of dentists. And people bought the forms. We would take the profit we made, pull them into more and more and more and more mailings, more mailings, more mailings. Before long, we were mailing our sales letter for our collection form to just about every single dental practice in the country. And we meet every Monday at the PO box, and soon it will be crammed with checks. It was so exciting. It was so awesome. Before long, we had 30,000 offices, practices, people, customers buying our collection forms. Somehow, like florists and funeral homes found out about it. We had a business selling these collection forms. It was awesome. Led to some of the journals like Dental Economics asking for articles. I wrote a little article. They loved it, wrote more. Dave wrote some. We started getting published. We're saying, wow, dental economics is paying us like 50 bucks a pop, and we have to agree that we can't use this article for anything else for a year. That's not a great deal. So we started a little newsletter called the Richards Report. It looked like it was banged out of a typewriter, black and white on white paper, anywhere from 8 to 20 pages. And it was the kind of newsletter where, again, remember, this is pre-internet. So there's people are starving for information. We said we used dirty language. We trashed the insurance companies. We would give product reviews that were real because they weren't sponsored. And it was pretty high priced. I don't remember, 300 bucks a year. Before long, we had thousands of subscribers to our little newsletter called the Richards Report. And that led to people asking us to come speak at their dental societies and their study clubs. And we started out, in the basements of Holiday Inns and learned how to do speaking. We developed our speaking style. We wanted to make it informative but fun. I was writing dental songs. We were singing, playing music, doing comedy. It was a great course, and that got more and more and more popular. We started getting more speaking gigs, more well known. And one day, Dave and I are at a big dental convention. We're sitting together, we're taking notes, bored out of our minds, and said, why are dental seminars and conventions and meetings so flippin' boring? There's got to be a better way to do this. And we left the room again, back of a napkin business plan. Let's create a dental seminar that's fun, that's exciting, that's loud, like going to a rock concert. So we had a bunch of friends in the speaking industry from all of our speaking gigs. We rented a hotel room in the Sheraton, downtown Baltimore. It held 300 people. We asked a lot of our speaker friends if they would speak at our seminar. The format was 2 days, everybody in one room. We thought it was a huge room, it was 300 people. Every speaker gets an hour, boom, 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 greatest hits, quick, fun, on and off, no time to get bored. It sold out immediately. And we said, let's take this thing to Vegas. So the next year, we were at the Flamingo Hotel in Vegas. The room held 600 people. We continued doing this every year, got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I mean, we had a dental rock and roll show, professional lighting and audio, incredible video, sound system that would blow anybody away. The people who worked with us, our crew in Las Vegas, were people who worked with rock musicians and did Vegas shows. They knew how to make it really pop and snap. It was amazing. Before long, and we were at all the major hotels: Caesars, Hard Rock, Flamingo, as I mentioned before, Planet Hollywood, Aladdin, Rio, all the cool MGM, the super cool Vegas hotels hosted us. And before long, we had about 3,000 attendees all in one room. After a few years, they started calling it the best seminar ever. TBSE. And it was such a compliment. We took that name and started calling our own seminar TBSE, the best seminar ever. Thousands of attendees. People started wearing costumes, and like by maybe year 6 or 7 or 8, everybody was showing up the first day. It looked like a Halloween bash. It was just craziness. And on the second day, we gave everybody TBSE t-shirts, and everybody came dressed in their t-shirts. It was just a tradition. People will tell others. It sold out. It was just incredible. That one went on for 25 years. It was a groundbreaking, amazing dental event. Unfortunately, during COVID, we decided to put it to rest. But along the way, we developed other products. We had an audio interview series that I just ended it actually. It predated podcasts. I interviewed every great dentist and dental consultant, people outside of the dental field who could contribute their knowledge to dentists. That was just amazing and so much fun. And of course, along the way, coaching and consulting, recommending products, a meeting with some of the leaders in dentistry. It's been so much fun. I'm 66, still going strong, still doing it, still loving it. And that's why I'm so excited to be doing this podcast for you. I know this one, you might say content wise, well, nothing maybe practice growing in here, but so many people have been asking me recently for my story. So I just thought I'd tell you that was an extremely abbreviated version of it. But I still love helping dentists and dental practices, recommending products, mostly speaking gigs. I've got so many cool speaking gigs coming up. Maybe you can come and catch me at one. I'm leaving in a few days to speak for the Alabama AGD. After that, I'll be at this huge meeting, and the name of it is escaping me. Oh, this is driving. Supercharge Your Dental Practice. It's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. Multiple speakers over 2 days. You can go to Supercharge Your Dental Practice. Google it. Sign up for that. I'll be doing a gig, another one in South Florida, and then after that, I'll be in Montana, New Orleans, Fort Wayne, Indiana. I'm trying to think of these off the top of my head. Um, outside of Boston, New York City, ton of great things coming up. And if you want me to come to your local study club, dental association, whatever it is, no meeting is too large, no meeting is too small. Just send me an email, Rich, R-I-C-H, at Madow, MADOW.com, and we can talk. I've got some great sponsors, so I'll be able to work within your budget. I'd love to come to your meeting. And I guarantee it will be the greatest day everybody has ever spent in dentistry because besides the amazing practice building advice, there's music, there's comedy, there's fun, it's entertaining. Nobody falls asleep. Everybody comes back after the break. It's a really, really cool day. Okay, I feel like I've been kind of doing some plugs a little bit along the way. So, again, my book, matter.com/book or matter.com/signed, whether you want to buy it on Amazon or get a signed copy directly from me. So, I hope that one of my kind of goals here in doing this podcast and telling my story, and believe me, it's a very abbreviated version, but one of my goals was to get you to think, yes, I can achieve my goals too. I mean, many, many years ago, I was a young dentist and I wanted to become a speaker and a coach and a writer and an author and all those things. And look, I didn't make it happen by myself. Nobody can do that. Many people helped me along the way. I got advice from friends. I networked, I read, worked hard, but no one can do it without a team to help them. And I had an amazing team. But my point is, maybe, maybe you can take a few minutes and think, what do I want to achieve in dentistry? Do I want to have a practice where it's free of any insurance intrusion and I can just treat patients exactly the way I like? Do I want to have a practice where I have a bunch of associates and I only work a couple days a week in the practice and spend the rest of the time on the practice? Do I want to have a chain of 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 offices? Do I want to slow down dentistry and pursue something else that interests me also? Well, my point is you can do it. You absolutely can. It just takes some time to think, some motivation, some hard work, a belief that you can make it happen. And I know that you can. So that's a lot of talking. I hope you enjoyed this very special edition of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. I'm Dr. Richard Maddow. I'm here to answer any questions that you have. Again, my email address is rich, R-I-C-H, at MADOW.com, rich at maddow.com. I hope to hear from you soon. I'll be back again with a more traditional type episode of the Dental Practice Fixers podcast. And until then, I wish you health, happiness, and success. I'll see you soon.